Welcome to another episode of Ask AdWords. I'm Alex.
And my name is Joe.
This week we've got 3 more of your questions to answer from the questions that you have sent in over social media and in the comments in our prior videos using the hashtag AskAdWords. These questions this week, coincidentally, are all very conversion tracking heavy, so let's get right down to it. The first question comes in from Ash, who asks, is there a way to track conversions without redirecting the users to any other page, such as a thank you page?
That's a great question. So normally if you were to go on a website and say buy something, you would click a say buy now button and it would bring you to a thank you page. What people normally do is put some sort of conversion tracking code on that thank you page. Now this question is asking what happens if it's not redirected to that thank you page, what could you do? Great question. Essentially you can put actually a little bit of code associated with that buy now or submit button. So when someone clicks that, you can actually track that as a conversion.
Yeah, and that would be technically through something called event tracking through your analytics account. So if you have an analytics account, check out event tracking and apply it to the button that you're referring to. If you don't have an analytics account and you do want to track something that does not redirect to another page, considering opening up an analytics account. It's completely free, and try out event tracking and you'll be able to accomplish exactly what Ash refers to.
If you're specifically wondering, okay, how do I actually set that up? You would want to do a search for Event Tracking Google Developers Guide, which will walk you through the steps. You can also give us a call and we'll be more than happy to help you through that. Awesome. So let's do the second question, which comes from Steve, and it reads, how do I get sales conversions info from, say, Amazon about an author's hard book or ebook sales, for example?
Another really good question. So if you're looking to track conversions on a third-party site in which you don't control the code of the site, the source code of the site, unfortunately you're not going to be able to do conversion tracking, because if you don't have the ability to put in a snippet of code into the site, the system's not going to be able to know when someone hits that page to trigger the conversion. So to answer this question directly, if you're going to be using a third-party site without access, you cannot track conversions. However, there are a couple workarounds, and to build on actually our last answer to Ash's question, one thing you could do, using the example of selling a book, is send the user from your AdWords ad to a website in which you control the code, right? It would feature the book, it would have a buy now button where the user could click. It would send them to that third-party site to complete the sale, but you could set up event tracking on that buy now button, following the same technique that Joe just outlined. So if you did want to go through that process, you could, in a way, come very close to tracking conversions using a website that you control kind of as an intermediary. In addition to that, if that's not something that interests you, you could look at some statistics in your account that might give you an idea of if people are interested in your product. For example, click-through rate is a good indicator. If one keyword or one ad has a higher click-through rate than another, it's generally a good indication that people are more interested in that keyword or they're more drawn to that ad. And from what I've seen, that is generally correlated with things like conversions. So it's not like perfect, it's not a direct, one-to-one sale type of thing like conversion tracking, but it should give you a pretty good idea.
Awesome. Well said. Let's do the last question.
Yeah, so the last question comes in from Daniel, who says, I have connected my analytics to my AdWords and have imported the goals into AdWords as conversions. Are there any advantages to using conversion tracking in addition to what I've already done?
So that's a great question. Essentially, goals in analytics and conversions in AdWords actually track the exact same thing. But if I had to think of one potential advantage in your situation, it would be that when you import goals from analytics to AdWords, there is actually up to a 48-hour delay. So if you were to set up conversion tracking with AdWords, you would get closer to real-time statistics associated with that.
Yeah, and to take a step back for those of you who might not be familiar with all this lingo, conversion tracking is the way for you to track things like sales and thank you form submissions through AdWords. It involves putting a snippet of code on the page that comes after, an action that you would like someone to take on your site, like a buy now type of thing. Analytics, goal tracking is the exact same thing. The reason we have both in 2 different products is because some people have AdWords but don't have analytics, and then vice versa, right? Some people have analytics but not necessarily AdWords. Finally, one caveat, you don't want to have both running in your AdWords account, because then you might get some redundancy in your reporting and it might look like you're getting more sales than you're actually getting in reality. But very good question.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for watching this Ask AdWords episode. If you have future questions, please feel free to use the hashtag AskAdWords and leave it on any social media site. You can also comment on this video, subscribe to the channel, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good one.
Bye.